Alright, it's time to stain a deck. So, what I've got right here is everything hopefully I need to stain this deck without having to make multiple trips in and out of the garage. I've got the little 3-inch, 4-inch roller attached to just the plain stick. These are $5-10. I've got a 3-inch brush attached to the end of this Worcester, and this is the newest tool I just picked up, which I believe was called the Lockjaw. The nice thing about this is it lets you attach virtually anything with a handle up to a certain size, about 1.5 inches diameter, to this, and you can actually pop this out and adjust this multiple ways. So that is the idea, to help prevent having to get down on my knees and get all exhausted. I've got my Behr wood stain. I went with a transparent. This one is natural sequoia. Also got my terry cloths to wipe off some of the stain, as you'll see. Got a little bucket that I'll be using as my tray here, and of course, Bluetooth speaker. First things first, make sure the deck's nice and clean. The day before, I used an all-in-one wood cleaner just to get any kind of sediment or filament off the top, and I gave it about 24 hours of time to dry. I also came to find out that there was a few wasps living under the deck as well. Some insects might have been harmed in the making of this video. Alright, shake it really fast, that stain. Make sure it's nice and mixed up. We're going to pour it into the container here, and when we're using the container with the brush, we're going to make sure we keep it sort of close to where we're painting, and you'll see why. On the very first dip here, I get some drips or drops on the deck, which is not a big deal, but you want to make sure if you get those, you don't let them dry like that. You just wipe them in really quick. We're going to be doing 2 coats, so it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, just make sure you rub it in nice and quick. The brush works great on the crevices or the cracks of these boards for getting in on the edges so you don't have much exposed. So we're just going to work these edges, and we're going to end up using the roller on the actual middle part of the boards. So we're rolling on the stain, and what you're going to see in the next clip here is that when you do the rolling, you end up with some bubbles. If you look really close, it's kind of hard to see. I'm trying to point here and show you where it's at. What you want to do is you want to take one of the terry cloths and just wipe that off, and you'll see, I mean, some of that shine goes away, but it's going to help the boards dry quicker, especially if you're putting on that second coat, and it's just going to give it an overall smoother appearance. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Alright, so what you're going to see here is the alternating between the brush and the roller. I really favored the brush though. Between the 3 and 4 inch, it seemed like I could accomplish just as much as I could with the roller in about the same amount of time when you factor in setting it down and picking the other up and getting them both wet. So I really did favor the brush. You'll see the lighting change because I was doing this later in the evening, closer to 5, 6 o'clock at night down here in Southwest Florida. It's not recommended to put stain on a surface in direct sunlight, but I had enough overcast and shade coming in and out that I didn't have to worry about the stain drying too quick, because that's the main concern when you're putting it on in direct sunlight, is how quickly that's going to dry. So I finished up this section, and this was going to be it for the day. So moving on from here will become day 2. This time I decided to start trimming along the track edge of the sliding glass door to start. I always like trimming because that way I can just go to town with the painting and not have to worry about hitting edges or messing anything up. It usually saves time and cleanup and makes the overall appearance better. So for day 2, I chose to only use the pole with the brush attached. I did not use a roller at all. Something I had noticed when I came out in the morning from the day prior was that the section that I'd used the roller on, there was a lot of marks from where I started and stopped using the roller. So that led to The main reason on why I preferred the brush, it didn't leave the obvious start and stop points. Remember to continuously stir up your stain while you're using it. So this wraps up day 2. This was with one coat, about 400 square feet of space. It took me a total of probably about 6 hours between the 2 days to do all this, mostly with the brush. And something you're going to notice is I put the second coat of stain on about 2 weeks later, and due to the heat we have down here in Florida, there was sap oozing out of areas close to the knots, which is common on pressure-treated wood. So to remove that, you can just use some turpentine, sandpaper, or even maybe some Gooby Gone, and you might have to just restain some of those spots. Now, what you've all been waiting for, the 6 workout tips and tricks. Starting with your one-handed paint can curls, following it up by your standard push-ups with the clap. After these, we're going to go into some abs with one-armed planks, making sure you're alternating from arm to arm, and you continue to terry cloth wipe off those paint stains. Next, follow it up with some paint can hops or lunges, alternating hands. Next, similar to the kettlebell, paint can swings with an occasional alternating one-handed swing. So thank you for watching my paint staining video, and I hope you got some good tips and ideas.